Carlos is a person who, if you go to his house, there's no Santana.
Yeah?
No Santana
no
pictures.
Gold records?
No, none of that. No. In the office, okay, you have all that stuff, Grammys and all awards. In Carlos's house, you don't have that.
Yeah.
Because it's important for me to constantly separate the person from the personality.
Right.
When you don't separate the person from the personality, you OD on you.
That would be no bad thing with a personality like yours, surely.
I'm sorry?
That would be no bad thing with a personality like yours.
No, you'd be surprised, because it's very exhausting to feed a personality, A personality is very demanding. A person just needs water and air, and you don't need all the you don't need all that kind of stuff. A personality is constantly, oh, please tell me how great I am, and
so it helps keep you sane, is what you're saying.
Yeah, if I can mention a lot of artists that I love, and unfortunately they became victims of their personality because they don't know when to put that aside and just be normal, natural, and you get in trouble because you need more drugs, or you need more this, or more this, or more this. Next thing you know, you're this far away from your heart, and you're not happy unless you're miserable, and then your art starts to suffer.
Yeah.
So that's why I learned to keep them separate.
If you don't, I understand you're speaking somewhat from experience. I understand the 70s were a time when obviously you indulged a fair bit yourself.
Well, I really didn't indulge because I knew when to stop. I just said, okay, I only need to know this experience, and now I know that my heart don't want it, my body don't want it. I never been to a rehab. I never been to anything like that. Because I've. Okay, this is important to know.
Okay.
Every person has an inner and an outer support system.
Right. Tell me more.
And so when you listen to your support system, you don't get in trouble by doing self-destructive things.
Right.
Because you listen to, you convert and defer to your spirit, and your spirit says, nope, not for you. Don't go there, because if you go there, it's not only a distraction, but it's destructive to your spirit and to your soul. We have so much time to be in this planet, and while we're here to make the best of reminding people like John Lennon or Bob Marley that everyone is significant and meaningful. And you can't remind people to be significant and meaningful when you're self-destructive.
Right. And conversely, I understand you felt that the whole 60s lifestyle actually improved your playing.
Yeah, I learned, I watched The Doors, and I watched Janis Joplin, about Jimi Hendrix, and I watched Marvin Gaye, and everybody from Michael Jackson to Whitney Houston. I learned to discipline and say, no, just one glass of wine, thank you.
Yeah.
It is important, to accept that supreme freedom comes from discipline.
Yeah.
So if you learn to discipline, I learned from 72 to 81, I did embrace Eastern philosophy.
Yeah.
We all read Paramahansa Yogananda. George Harrison, had a guru in Guru Swamis. But you can learn something from them. You learn about immortality, eternity, infinity. Those words are not just words. They're actually rooms that you can go in there. For example, Bob Marley's music is outside of time now. When you play No Woman, No Cry or Jammin', 500 years from now, is people going to still be dancing?
Yeah.
Same thing with Michael Jackson. Some musicians are the flavor of the moment.
Yeah.
And you won't remember them, thank God,
Yeah.
A week from now, But some musicians you will, because they have invested emotional investment in learning to confer and defer with their inner support system.
Yeah. And we're speaking about the lifestyle and the culture. bringing it back to the music again, your music was very free in the 70s as well. It reflected the time you were going through. Do you think the kind of freedom that your music and all music at that time had is possible in the modern arena tour schedule you face today?
Yes, absolutely. You know, what we learned from the 60s was multidimensional because of LSD and peyote and mescaline. You know, you learn to go outside like a hamster. You got to open the cage and get out.
Yeah.
You know, and not be so boxed in with religion or politics. You need to go beyond that to get into the music. You know, the Beatles, All You Need Is Love, and I'm just encouraging people to don't be predictable.
Yeah.
And don't be predictable and think, oh, my little 2 cents or my little me. No. Say I am the light, and don't apologize, and don't feel embarrassed, and don't feel guilty for saying, I am significant and meaningful.
Yeah.
And I can make a difference in the world, like Desmond Tutu or Dalai Lama or Mother Teresa. It's important to remind other people of their own light.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to just do show business and entertainment and just get expensive cars and, you know, all that stuff is fun. But after a while, it's very, very boring. What's really exciting is to take time to go inside and figure out why a note like Jimi Hendrix, Buddy Guy, or Stevie Ray Vaughan, or Jocko, or Miles Davis, or why is it that a note like that give people chills?
Yeah. It's interesting to hear you mention those great players like Hendrix, Buddy Guy. I know obviously you played with John McLaughlin. I understand you once said that there's no guitarist better than you, but you're not better than anybody else. Is that how you feel?
I never said that.
No?
No, I never said that. I would never say that. I think that the people that I admire, of course, is Paco de Lucia and John McLaughlin.
Yeah.
And it's subjective, because if you ask Paco de Lucia who's the best, he'll probably say Manitas de Plata.
Right.
If you ask Manitas de Plata, he'll say, oh, Django Reinhardt. If you say Django Reinhardt, he'll say somebody else. So it's subjective, you know. I think any musician who says that he's the best, they're usually not that good.
Well, that's refreshing to hear. And obviously you are playing a jazz festival here today, so I'd like to ask you briefly about some of the jazz. You mentioned Wayne Shorter, I think, 3 times in the last 3 conversations. He's a huge hero of mine. I mean, what was it like to work with him?
Thank you for asking. You know, being with Wayne Shorter is extremely fun because he is like a 7-year-old child that's brilliant, you know. But again, he's like a child. He's not there's no even intellect is enlightened. With Wayne, everything is fun, you know, and he'll say things like, you have to think faster to play slower, and you have to think slower to play faster.
Okay.
He says certain things that you go, dang, you know, because it's an insight, you know. He has a way of inviting you to see and feel beyond what you think you know.
Okay.
And I think his association with Miles Davis gave them an insight that is beyond good and evil.
Okay. Again, you brought up Miles several times, and I can hear Bitches Brew as an influence in your music. How much did that affect where you were going in the late 60s, early 70s?
You know, I think that it should be a required listening for children between 17 to 27 to listen to Bitches Brew while they're doing their homework.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You'd get some freaky creative writing. You'd get some freaky creative writing.
Well, you when you listen to Bitches Brew or John Coltrane, I Love Supreme, then you're able to really use the fullness of your brain, not just a little part, you know. And so certain musicians inspire you to have a bigger latitude.
Right.
And not be, again, when someone says, well, my little opinion and my little 2 cents, usually I want to say, well, why is it has to be little? Why do you belittle yourself so much, you know? when people say that it's ego,
Yeah.
when people who have arrogance and superiority and people who have inferiority is the same ego.
Okay.
But when you say, my heart tells me to go this way, I go, oh. You know, because when people speak that language, you help accelerate in this world courage. Okay. A lot of people live, so many people live with fear every day. And they're always blaming, fault finding, and they're not happy unless they're miserable, and then they want to make everybody else miserable. But that's because they have invested emotionally into their own darkness.
Yeah.
You know, when you invest emotionally in your own light, just like you chew gum, you can chew these words: I am the light. And once you start saying it, I am the light, I am the light, I am the light, pretty soon your molecules start believing it.
Yeah.
See? And when you start believing it, then I assure you, you can also create miracles and blessings.
Yeah.
Those things, that energy is not only for Desmond Tutu or the Pope or Mother Teresa or the Dalai Lama.
It's for everyone.
Yeah, you know, but use it in a good way, you know.
Yeah. And we were just speaking about a lot of your collaborations. I mean, true to us, because obviously from classic pop to the best jazz musicians that have ever lived. In your eyes, what were the most and least successful of your collaborative works?
And least?
The most and least successful.
What does that mean?
Artistically.
What does that mean?
Well, which do you feel reached the highest level of musical expression and which one maybe didn't work as you'd hoped it would work?
None.
No?
I don't think like that, you know?
No?
I mean, everything that I did from John McLaughlin, I Love Supreme, Love, Devotion, Surrender to Alice Coltrane, to playing with Justin Bieber, you know, at New Year's Eve in New York. I don't have, you know, there's a way to validate everything, you know. I don't feel that anything that I've done is a failure because one way or another, someone will write a letter and say, hey, you know, that's just what I needed to hear. Yeah. You know, because there's different levels of people where people are. You can't just play music for Ravi Shankar. Mm-hmm. You know, there's Ravi Shankar, and then there's Ali Akbar Khan, and there's Sakir, and, you know, there's like, so I don't have anything to say about failure. I only have everything to say about victory and triumph, you know, because, listen, I was washing dishes. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I said, I want to do that, and I want to be that. I believe, not I think I can do it, I know I can do it. I know I can be on stage with Eric Clapton and B.B. King, and I can bring something, you know? So since I quit being a dishwasher, every day has been a victory, you know?
So let me ask you, from that dishwasher to that boy that made that success, was it talent or self-belief that got you where you are today?
Neither one. It was God's grace.
God's grace.
God's grace helped me to see and hear a language.
I get the feeling I'm being wrapped up. Okay, so one more. You may or may not know, the day after your concert here, we've got the Middle Eastern debut at the Rolling Stones down the road in Abu Dhabi. And obviously they celebrated with great fanfare their 50th anniversary a year earlier. Do you see Santana the band celebrating their 50th anniversary soon? And even going beyond?
Going beyond, you know, because, you know, I celebrate with them, you know, I celebrate because their legacy is incredible, you know. I mean, there was one time on the radio that there was only two songs that were like the highest. Satisfaction and Light My Fire by The Doors, you know. And it was down, 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 you know. And dum, 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 dum. I mean, you play those two songs right now 4 times on the radio, they'll be number one again. Yeah. The youngsters will go, damn, what is that? You know, because when it's all said and done, you know, really it's about the songs. Yeah. I'm here because of the songs. So if people pay attention to the songs, then the songs will keep you relevant.
Yeah.